Isak to Liverpool. Can you imagine adding an elite striker like that with Wirtz, Frimpong, and Kerkez?
But that would mean one of the greatest transfer windows for a team of all time.
Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards are trying to assemble the Avengers for Slot. Isak isn't just one of the best strikers in the Premier League. He's flat out one of the best players.
You know, I'd break the bank for him. I think he's the best of the best.
He plays with elegance. He's clinical, intelligent. He is everything that Nunez isn't. Look at what the Swede has done to Liverpool before. Made the best center back in the world look like Trent. Isak is the type of player that makes everything look effortless. And if Liverpool pull this off, it won't just be a good signing. It will be the signing that takes them to the next level. But can it actually happen? In the beginning, I thought these rumors were just media companies trying to get more clicks. Slap together a couple of vague phrases, put Isak to Liverpool as the headline, and boom, free engagement. But then I did some digging, and I realized that Ornstein has been reporting on this since March of 2025. In a Q&A he did with The Athletic, he talked about Liverpool being one of the sides who are really keen on making the deal happen on the condition that Isak is actually available. In Ornstein's own words, Liverpool are not the type of club to engage in a wild goose chase. They aren't United.
But United are so off it, it's unbelievable.
Okay, I added that last part in. Ornstein didn't say that. Now it comes as no surprise that teams want Isak. He had one of his best ever individual seasons, picking up 27 goals, helping Newcastle win a trophy, and helping them secure Champions League football. Unfortunately, Liverpool had front row seats to Isak's magic in the Carabao Cup final.
It's a test, it's Isak and there's a goal! They won't rule that one out!
What a player. The thing about Isak joining Liverpool is that he would continue a legacy. He would join a lineage of Liverpool having an elite striker that stretches back decades. During most periods, the Reds always had someone world-class leading the line. For older Liverpool fans, they will remember Ian Rush and Kenny Dalglish, two strikers who absolutely dominated everyone in their path. Then there was Michael Owen, who won a Ballon d'Or as a Liverpool striker, an incredible player. Shame he isn't as good of a pundit as he was as a player. Then of course there was Fernando Torres and Luis Suarez. Torres ruined a wonderful career by moving to Chelsea, which is a shame because the Liverpool version of him was one of the most complete strikers I've ever seen. Fast, strong, skillful. Yet now he's remembered more for the miss against United than what he was doing to teams in 2008. For Suarez, to this day, I still believe the 2014 version of him was the highest peak I have ever seen from a Premier League player. He was a freak of nature. He would bite you, then score a hat-trick.
He was phenomenal at Liverpool. He was incredible. He had an attitude that I liked, you know. He didn't take any nonsense. I know he did one or two things that he shouldn't have done over his career, but ability-wise, yeah, without doubt, he was sensational.
But ever since Luis Suarez, Liverpool have not had a truly elite striker. I consider Firmino a bit of an exception. He was a genius, one of the most important players in the Klopp era, but he was a false nine. He was a creator, a connector, someone who brought others into the play. He wasn't a true nine like the other players that I mentioned. After Firmino, Darwin Nunez was supposed to be that guy. They paid the big fee, bought into the hype, and at times, it looked like he might just explode. He had moments. I don't think any Liverpool fan would say he didn't contribute. They don't win the league without his performance against Brentford. But for what they paid, they expected a star. A player that would have followed the lineage of elite nines at Liverpool. Instead, they got a guy who every time he was in front of goal, it felt like a coin toss if he was going to score. He was either going to put a top bins or out of the stadium. He has the pace, the power, the movement. But when you can't deliver week in, week out, those attributes mean nothing. And that's where Isak comes in. A striker who can bring consistency and calmness to the number 9 role. Something that Liverpool haven't had in a long time. In fact, they won the league while at times using a left winger up front. All of their goals pretty much came from one man on the right wing. For different reasons, Nunez and Jota have both failed to lead the line for Slot. Jota actually started out on fire in the beginning of the 2025 season. He was linking up well with the midfield and looked like the type of striker that Slot wanted. But then he got injured, and when he came back, he didn't look the same. Maybe he played too much weekend league. The problem for Jota has always been injuries. When he's healthy, he's a great forward. He can score with both feet, he can be clinical, and despite being a short guy, he's a threat in the air. But he isn't getting any younger. and every injury is hurting him more and more now. Then Nunez has a different problem. He just isn't clinical. Great pace, great aggression, but all of that becomes useless when you have rocks for brains. Slot did his best to improve every player he inherited, but even he couldn't get Nunez clicking. And what pissed off the Dutchman more than the misses was Nunez's attitude after a miss.
And players miss chances that I can accept, but what was a bit harder for me to accept, that his behavior after that chance, and with behavior I mean, I think it got too much in his head, where he wasn't the usual Darwin that works his ass off, and
he stopped running and working hard for the team. Qualities that Slot does not want to see from any player. As you can see from this data from The Athletic, both Jota and Nunez were underperforming their expected goal. So the chances were being created, it's just neither of these guys were clinical enough to actually bury them. Then look at this graphic. You can see that Liverpool had a lack of shots coming from central areas in the box. Of course, the right side is booming because of Salah, but the middle is like a desert because Liverpool don't have someone elite there. A complete overhaul of the strikers altogether seems a bit extreme, but it's obvious that an upgrade is needed in that position. Yes, the arrival of Wirtz will help, but a player like Isak would take this team to another galaxy. This is a player who was putting up Alan Shearer-esque numbers at Newcastle. He was part of an exclusive group of Newcastle players who have scored in 7 consecutive Premier League games. There is a reason this guy is valued at £150 million and nobody thinks it's an overpay. It's because he's the full package. People will focus on how good he is at dribbling, which I will discuss later in the video, but I want you guys to focus on how much better he has gone in the 6-yard box. Remember how Liverpool were struggling to get shots off centrally in the box? Well, that's the exact area that Isak dominates in. Only a few other players have scored more goals in the 6-yard box in a single Premier League season since 2018-2019 than Isak. Look at his performance against Ipswich. 9 of 32 touches in the opposition box, and all of his goals coming from within the area. This is the part of his game that will make Slot's balls tingle. Cause imagine Kerkez, Frimpong, Wirtz, Salah all being able to create chances for someone who can actually put the ball in the back of the net. Look at his goal against Spurs. That low cross from Murphy into Isak has become a trademark for the Magpies. Murphy's assist for him against Aston Villa was a carbon copy of the Spurs goal. Initially, Isak remains offside, keeping himself unmarked, while Guimaraes plays a through ball into Murphy. The pass puts Isak onside, with Murphy moving into a cutback position, and boom, another back post tap in for Isak. It's an area of his game that he's been working on.
Something you're working on in training?
I think it's a combination. Obviously, I always want the ball in the box, but we've been speaking about it as well with the gaffer and to play more centrally.
Since then, he has refined his movement, increasing his one-touch shot rate by 15%. At the time of that interview, he only had 4 6-yard goals. Since then, only Haaland has had more 6-yard box Premier League goals than Isak.
So is he the Premier League's most informed striker at the moment? Are we agreeing there?
He still drops in to help with the build-up, but he finds himself in more back post positions than before. A big reason for this was the introduction of Lewis Hall into the lineup for Newcastle. Well, Kerkez can do the same role for Isak, just at Liverpool. Look at this goal that the Swede scored against United, and tell me you can't see Kerkez making the same cross. Isak comes deep, links up with the play to Guimaraes, then the Brazilian switches the play to Hall. Gordon goes infield, which occupies Mazraoui. That allows Hall to have more time, and it meant that Newcastle could flood the box. Isak ends up attacking behind Harry Maguire and heads in the cross. 3 center backs all focused on the runners, yet nobody tracked Isak. Newcastle scored from this exact pattern of play against Leicester as well. They created a 2v1 on the right back James Justin, and Gordon released Hall. Isak drifted to the back post, with Murphy and Tonali also crashing the box. Now Hall gets a bit lucky with his cross, which bounces off Connor Cody, and it goes straight into the path of Isak, who heads it in. But once again, excellent positioning from Isak. What makes him so valuable to Liverpool is that not only does he consistently find himself in the right areas, but he's also so efficient in front of goal. In 2024, he outperformed his expected goal tally by 3.07 goals, with a shot conversion rate of 24.7% and a shooting accuracy of 66.2%. So he got 3 more goals than he should have. Meanwhile, guys like Nunez and Jota are getting less goals than they should have. Now, if Isak was just a good poacher or just good in the box, he wouldn't be valued at over 100 mil. It's the fact that he gives you a presence in the box while being the type of striker that can create something out of nothing that makes him so elite. Look at what he did to Everton. This is where he received the ball from Dan Burn. Now look what he does with it.
To get a 4th Newcastle into the corner. He's taking on 2. Oh, he's beaten them. It's wonderful skill from Isak. What a run, Alexander Isak. It's going to go in. It's Jacob Murphy.
Then you have the chip goal he scored against Emiliano Martinez and Aston Villa. As if the previous goals against Liverpool weren't enough, here's another one. Look at where he is when Anthony Gordon gets the ball, and compared to the position when the pass is made. He accelerates between the Liverpool defenders, and he doesn't even need to take a touch because he lets the ball do the work for him. He shapes to go one way, then opens his body, and then a nice finish. Very Thierry Henry-esque. His blend of technical quality, intelligence, and finishing makes him a genuine difference maker. At Sociedad, he was skillful, but he didn't have the output. Then in his first few seasons at Newcastle, he had the output, but he wasn't as good at being a poacher. Now though, he's the full package, a player who creates and scores. When you combine his technical ability with the wide range of tools he has for finishing, it's not hard to see why he gets the Henry comparisons. At his best, I would say he's even better than Haaland, because Haaland is reliant on service from others. Meanwhile, Isak is the type of player who you can give the ball to him and you can just watch him cook. The guy's like 6'4", moving like a 5'6" winger in pro clubs. Respectfully, no version of Nunez or Jota comes even close to this guy. Only reason he hasn't exploded yet is because of injuries. That's literally the only thing that has held him back. Which of course will be a concern, but if you can keep him healthy, you're set. In a time where there's a lack of quality strikers, having a player like Isak is a cheat code. Imagine partnering players like Salah and Wirtz with another guy who can score goals for fun. That's the type of player that turns Liverpool into Champions League favorites. When you combine all of these factors, it shouldn't come as a surprise that Newcastle don't want to sell him. They don't want to let him go either now or in the future.
Newcastle have no intention of selling him whatsoever. Their plan is to keep him. They would like to renew his contract.
Isak still has over 3 years left on his contract. He's already making good money, and Newcastle are ready to offer him even more. They don't just want to keep him, they want to build their entire team around him. And from Isak's perspective, well, from the outside he seems completely happy. He's smiling, scoring goals, and helping Newcastle win trophies. Back in March when people asked him about leaving, he said he loves the club and the city, and that he's only focused on doing well for the team. But Liverpool, they're not giving up. After all, things move very fast in football. A player can easily go from being completely happy to frustrated. All it takes is a season without Champions League football, and Newcastle can lose him. Then financially, Liverpool are fine. Even after spending nearly £200 million, reports indicate that Liverpool still have money to spend. Now, if you guys want to add to the Isak budget, just pick yourself up a Liverpool jersey from buygamejerseys.com and use code PETTALKS for a discount. And now that they have beefed up the other areas of the team, Isak, he's at the top of their wish list. They are serious about bringing him to the club. Newcastle, though, are ready. They've made it clear. If Liverpool want to start talking, they better come in with a huge offer.
Get your wallet out, that's all I'd say.
Still a lot of money,
120
100 million for a player. That's frightening, isn't it?
Some people say it would take at least £150 million just to get Newcastle to pick up the phone.
If you got the 150 million, you wouldn't you?
No is the answer.
Really?
So how much do you want?
Others think it could go as high as £200 million. While all of this is going on, Liverpool are looking at other options. Names like Julian Alvarez, Victor Gyökeres, and even Victor Osimhen have been mentioned. But let's be honest, Isak is the one that they really want. He's not just a good player, he's one of the best strikers in the world. He's Premier League proven, calm in front of goal, and dangerous from every angle. If Liverpool can make this happen, it will be the move that takes this new look team to another galaxy. Because the team that Slot is shaping up right now is already crazy good. To see how good, you have to check out this video right here.